Car is ready. Time to put the cage in. If you didn't see the last video, link up there. We finished cleaning the car out, getting it ready, wire wheeling everything off, all the preparation stuff to put the roll cage in. I've put in about 6 roll cages now, 1 of my own personal and 5 for other people. And this is essentially going to be a review of the 94 through 04 Mustang Cage Kits cage. I actually have it sitting over here in the corner, but I'm excited. I'm ready to get this car done, ready to get it rolling, ready to put the engine in. Before any of that can happen, I have to put the cage in. And along the way, I'm going to give you tips and tricks, show you what I do to get it in this car, how you can do it yourself, just in case you're maybe even buying this cage and you want to get an idea of what it looks like done and in, because if I have one gripe with cage kits, that's one of them. This will also be basically my own review of said Cage Kits cage. And without further ado, let's get this cage in this car so we can finally put the engine in and get back to drifting at an even higher level than I was before. So, starting out, this is the actual cage kit from cagekits.org. And I'm going to start by giving you my honest opinion up until this point. So, obviously I've had the cage for over a month now, sitting on the pallet ready to go. Pro tip, if you have to store your cage for a little bit before you put it in the car and you're worried about it flash rusting, get yourself some WD-40. Actually, I have some on my toolbox over there. And spray it down with WD-40. That way, while it's sitting, the WD-40 will stop it from flash rusting. But that's besides the point. My honest review so far from Cage Kits is their customer service is great once you finally get a hold of them. So, when I got this kit, it was included. I already threw it away because it had personal information of somebody else, and I didn't want that to get floated out there. But when I got it, well, let's back that up. When I ordered it, I expected there'd be a 4 to 5 week wait time on this. And I was like, okay, so I just kind of ordered it and waited, and 4 weeks kind of came, and I was getting close to being ready, and went. Come 6 weeks in, I'm like, okay, what's going on here? Haven't got any. It still says in processing. Now they do disclaimer, it's like 4 to 7 weeks, but I would like a little more communication. So I sent them an email. I was like, hey, just curious where we're at. I'm getting close to being ready to put the cage in the car. I kind of need to be able to be ready to put the cage in once I get it. I'm getting close. Day goes by, 2 days goes by, and here's my first major gripe. I would have just called them to sort this out, no problem, except for the fact that they don't have any phone number listed anywhere that I can find. Might be listed somewhere, but nowhere I can find. Not on their Google Store page, their website, their Facebook page, their Instagram. The only way to contact them is via email. Although email is not bad per se, I personally dislike the only method of contacting email because emails are slow, and if I need something fast, you're SOL. Plus, it gives an opportunity to sit there and just go, I wonder if they're going to respond. I've had it happen before where I send emails out and I just never get a response. It's unfortunate, but it is what it is. So they email me, oh, it'll be wrapped on a pallet by the end of the week. This is a Monday that she responded. It'll be wrapped on a pallet, shipped by the end of the week. Cool. End of the week comes and goes. Nothing. Which is unfortunate, because it's like, damn. Well, alright. Well, I sent another email. No response. After like 2-3 days, I send a third email, and I finally get a response. It'll be shipped today, or it was either it'll be shipped today or shipped by the end of tomorrow, and you'll have a tracking number. Tomorrow comes and goes, never get a tracking number. Send another email out. Nothing. And then, while I'm at work, I get a call from the shipping company saying, oh, we have a delivery from Cage Kits. It will be delivered tomorrow. What time and when can we be there? So I'm like, well, I guess that's the cage. All right. No response, but whatever. When I did talk to the lady, she was super helpful, but that was like the one response I got. Gave him a call back, answered the shipping company, told him, if you can be here after 5 o'clock on because it was a Thursday when they called. Friday, cool. End of the day, it was rough. It took a while. They said it would take a while. Not the end of the world. I just would have appreciated a little bit better communication, especially when I'm told I'm going to get a tracking number that I never get. But after looking at their website a little bit, they apparently had just had a shipping issue where the company that they did all the shipping they did all their shipping through had gone out of business. So I understand there might have been some mix-ups there, and it is what it is. Not sweating it. I got the cage. But back to how I got the cage from the shipping company. They called me and they're like, hey, we'll drop it off tomorrow at 5 o'clock then, if that's what you want. And I was like, yes, please. I'm working in the morning. I can't be here to pick it up because it's coming on a semi-tractor trailer, not just any old box truck. I can fit a box truck through my driveway. I have a box truck. I have a 24-footer. A semi won't fit through here, though. A box truck's as big as the semi. The problem with the semi is it articulates in the middle, and you have to go make some tight corners. Regardless, they're like, okay, we'll be there. And then, like, right as I'm about to hop in my truck to leave for work, I get a call. Hey, I'm here with your cage kit. I'm here with the shipping company. I'm here to deliver it. 8 a.m. when I told you I need you here no earlier than 5. So I rush, and because my road's dirt, and I didn't fully expect it to be on a semi, I had them drop it at the end of my driveway, which is long. I took my box truck out there and loaded it back up in. I got it. End of the story. But just a big, like, damn, man, y'all call and ask me and then can't fucking drop it off at the time you said you'd drop it off? Regardless, I have the cage. And then I had my second issue. This sheet is a checkoff list. It shows you what every serial number, because if you didn't know, Cage Kit's cages, and I'll show you here in a second, have etching for where the landing spots and a part number on it. So you can reference this list and see what each part is meant exactly for, which is really fucking awesome. I can't wait to try it out because that seems just too freaking cool. The cage kits I've worked with in the past from like Rhodes race cars that suck, you don't even know which bar is for which. You're just kind of guessing. And I guessed wrong on my first car in a couple spots. But I didn't get this list. I actually got the checklist for an S14 and along with the invoice information for somebody's S14 cage. I freaked out for a second, and then I saw on the actual bar itself, it said Sn95, so I know it's for my car. But, like, now I'm left without this list. I can't even check to see if I got all the right parts or if anything fell off. So then I emailed them again. Luckily, this time I got a response fairly quickly. Why, I have no clue. But I did. And she was like, oh, I'm so sorry about the mix-up. She gave me an Excel sheet for that link. She linked me an Excel sheet that had this list, but every other cage kits list. If you didn't know, I have my own fab shop now. That's like a side gig, and I install people's cage kits and such. So if anybody else needs those lists, I have them now. Makes life a lot easier just in case you get the wrong checklist. So when I went through this checklist, I checked everything off except for base plate, 11 gauge, high HRPO steel, DS intrusion plate. Those are the plates that go in front of the intrusion plates. They are a folded plate, like a box almost, in the one like technical thing you can see of the cage. And I'll put a picture of it here. So I was like, oh, well, now I'm missing that. Great. So I emailed them again. And they're like, oh, no problem. I'll make sure, I'll double check. And I also hadn't fully checked it. I said I was going to double check again, but I had gone through the kit before I had the list and figured out I was missing those. Double check, so I checked the list and I hit them up, and she gave me a phone number. So I have a sales rep's phone number now if I do have a major issue. But, just in case, and then I emailed her back like, yeah, that's it. The only thing I was missing was intrusion, and I didn't get a response. Again. So it's like I'm pulling my hair out here because, like, when I do get a response, it was nothing but helpful, awesome, like, informative, anything I needed to know. And then when I didn't get a response, it was frustrating. And it's nothing that couldn't have been sorted out over a 5-minute phone call. And saving everybody a bunch of time, not having to send emails back and forth and wait. Regardless, after I didn't get another response for another couple of days, I called the number she gave me. I talked to a technical rep or sales rep and basically got told that they just sent a square plate and that you're meant to form it to your wheel well, which is something I've done before for cages. So I was like, okay, cool. Don't worry about sending me the base. They offered to ship me the base plate ASAP. I was like, don't worry about it. It's just a square plate. And I'll show you. It's literally just a square plate. It's like $4. I literally have a stack of them. So I was like, don't even worry about it. I appreciate you making the situation right, though. That leaves us where we are now, actually putting the cage in. So, first things first, we're going to be putting our boxes in. And these are just going to get tacked in because they're going to get popped back out to drop the cage down to weld it. So, without further ado, we'll put those in. You see it's got a part number on it, Sn95 FBPLH. So that's left hand front B pillar, or I like to call them A pillars, Sn95. So it's going to go open the car here. Right here. See how nicely that fits. Very minimal, standoffish, and I'll clean it up a little bit. Probably get the fill even a little bit tighter, but yeah. So that's where we stand here. And what's nice about cage kits is all the parts are, as you saw, they are labeled. So this one's Sn95 1028. So for instance, we come over to my cheat sheet here, the checklist. Sn95 1028. That's actually passenger side door bar support. So now I know exactly what that is. There's a lot of kits, like I said earlier, that give you nothing. They don't even give you pictures. I have some pictures of this cage in the car, which is not much, but it's better than you get a lot of the time. So I'm gonna go ahead and get set up, and we're gonna go ahead and get all the boxes welded in. We're gonna start out with our 2 A pillar boxes and our 2 B pillar boxes that sit on top of this. Alrighty, so the front boxes are both tacked in. I also went ahead and tacked in both rear boxes. Just ground down where it was going to contact and gave it a couple tacks. So I'm working on getting the main hoop in. And as you can see, it is extremely tight. We are touching here, 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 and here. And that's a good thing. You want it to be really tight. But it's almost a touch too tight, especially on this side. So I'm almost wondering if this plate might be a touch tall, just from manufacturing tolerances. So I might try and tap it down a little bit, along with just, especially like right up here, denting it in a little bit, just to try and give myself a little bit extra clearance to slide this thing in and out. Because ideally, we're gonna have to slide this. I think there's no way it's sliding backwards, but slide it forward. I'll figure that out as we go. But one thing at a time, so first things first, yeah, it's going to have to be a slide forwards and drop. So, yeah, that'll be fun. Well, I guess I can't get the door bars with it cage dropped anyway, so it'll be just these connections. Yeah, alright, well, I'm going to clearance these a little bit and go get some food and come back to you once we are good to tack this main hoop in. Alright, passenger side, A-pillar bar is in, same with the driver's side. So far everything lines up. That gap's a little bigger than I expected, but nothing too crazy, and it's also not It's also not finally set in its final resting place. So, you know, still some play to go with it. But next up, we're gonna do the knee bar here. And then we're also gonna do the bar here with the little strut thingies. And get that all tacked in, and then I think I'll probably call it for the night because it's starting to get a little late. But just thought I'd bring a little update. My GoPro's acting up again. So it's gonna be a bunch of little updates like this as I go along. But basically, I set that into place right on the marks. You kinda can't see the marks anymore, but there are marks there. Got it nice and snug, tacked it, it's in place, but it still has a little bit of wiggle and play to it. So I can still move it around if I need to. All right, we're back. So, I have the bottom door bar tacked in. This is just sitting on here. I had to cut the tacks on the front and rear of the down bar to get some room to move stuff. But the bars fit now, at least on this side. I tacked the corner in. I tacked the main diagonal in. I tacked these corner gussets in on the front and back. I can't remember if the last clip I showed you the front was done. I believe I did. That's all tacked in. So, I believe we are at the point where I can't really tack anything else in without dropping the cage and welding the top. I probably could, but then I'd have to be taking it out. Like, I already have to take the door bars out when I drop it. So first things first, I'm gonna go around to all the top corners, weld as much of it as humanly possible without cutting the tacks and dropping the cage. Basically everything that's below. Once that's welded and it's dropped, I'll weld the top, and then once we weld the top, we can push it back up, put it back on the front boxes, and start getting all the other stuff in. So, one thing at a time to get this cage done. Just about everything that I can weld. Not welding here because this is where the down bar goes, and with it down I won't be able to really reach it. Meanwhile, I can actually pretty much reach it from this side with it up and in, because it's going to end like right there, so I can kind of get the gun in at an angle. So not worried about there, but everything else around here is welded. Once I drop the cage down, I can weld the outside of this bar and the outside of this bar right here. Over here is good to go. I can actually get the door bar from over here with the welder, so once the door bar is done, we'll be good to go. Same concept over there. So all that's really left is, now that the X bar is fully welded in, other than the two spots on there, we're gonna pop that knee bar out so it flexes in a little bit. Pop these off, take the two boxes out the front, hopefully tilt it down, and maybe if we're lucky enough forward to slide it off this so we can really get to the top of the cage. We will have to see about that. That's just a big hope and dream at this point. I think I'll be lucky if when I pop those boxes out, it tilts down. It's just so tight that I really don't know if anything else is possible. Luckily, those are welded in now, so they can't come apart. But yeah, so without further ado, we're gonna pop that out, take the boxes out, see about getting this whole thing down and forward. I didn't realize it, but my GoPro died while I was recording this. I know, I have tons of GoPro problems. Just ignore me. But basically, through a combination of whacking it forward, essentially bending out there where it was pressed up against it, and like prying it forward past this, I managed to get the entire cage to drop down so I could weld the top. And yeah, having the windshield out makes this a lot easier. I could probably do it with this much height if I did have the windshield in. But it is out. I can get to all the top stuff really, really nicely. If I had the down bars in, that would have not worked at all. But it has dropped down, so yeah. So it's already 11 o'clock at night of the next day. And all I've gotten done is I welded the tops. As you can see, they're all welded up fully. And then I realized I should probably clean the tint off this back window before I put the rear down bars in, because it's going to be extremely hard to get to once it is. And honestly, this black gloss is probably eventually going to get replaced. There's a bunch of scratches on the outside of the window right here, you can see. And then the tint's not fully cleaned off the edges, but it's off where you see, which was dirty. You can see all the remnants of it. But it's cleaned out. Eventually it'll probably get replaced, but for now it'll work to see and drive through. But yeah, so my one thing tonight that I do want to get done after this, I will at least want to get it back up on the boxes, because yeah, that would suck if I didn't, because I want to get a little bit done every night. So let's go ahead and get this thing back up here on the boxes. Alright. Cage is coming along. It's super tight. I'm actually using my higher power bar to pry the bars to kind of get them in a better spot. Just give me some room in some different places. Like the bars here is sitting slightly back, and so I was prying it forward. I'm probably going to tack the bar here on the mark here, and then pry this cage, because it's sitting kind of far back on this landing pad. Prying this back forwards a little bit again. A little bit of the same on that side, but that side doesn't need it as bad. It's basically just trying to get this bar to fit like it should. And as long as we do that, we're good. Because this bar sets our width this way. And that, as long as this fits properly, the top bar here will fit properly. Obviously dash bar is done, and that's all done. Once this is tacked, I'll probably put the intrusion bars in. Well, first things first, finish fully welding the landing pads in, because they need to get fully welded in. Weld the main hoop in, and then I'll probably do the intrusion bars. And then last but not least will be the rear down bars, the X bars, and the harness bars. But the down bars require me to weld on the not landing pads, but the box, the strut towers, and that's the whole project. That's probably going to be a Saturday project, so not tomorrow, but the day after. For you, it'll be seconds or minutes, depending on how much I get done. Yes, tomorrow. But so I have spent the last 2-3 hours on this Friday night welding boxes in, and it's honestly gone pretty good. You can see I've gotten some decent dimes. Right here, I had an issue where I went through the floor by accident. I also did it over here a little bit. Is what it is. Not that big a deal. You'll survive when it's fully welded. You can see right here, I got some really good dimes where it was nice and tight. This one wasn't as tight, so going down, I kind of did some passes, and I accidentally burnt through right there, so I still got a little bit of touch-up to go there. But this box is fully done, back and front. This box is done on the front side. I still got to do the back side of it. Both the front boxes are in. Tomorrow will be fun because we're going to set the door bars there, weld the cage in, and start working on the door bars and intrusion bars. But for now, boxes are welded in. I tacked the bottom of the bar in with the door bar in. Right, so I just set it back in like we had it before, tacked it so this spacing is correct. So I know my top bars will fit, etc. I tacked this back in. I kind of brought it off the edge of the pad a little bit. Did the same right here. From the tacks and stuff, it's sitting off a little bit, but it's not a big gap, so I can just kind of bridge it. All I gotta do, we gotta make a little plate, a square one right here that just kind of fills that gap. And I can weld right there, so that when I put that back up, it is actually, you know, on a landing pad, not just the thin sheet metal of the fender liner. So that's the first side. We're gonna go ahead and cut the plate out real quick. You're making a lot more progress. As you can see, first things first, that intrusion bar is fully welded in place, both sides. And then I got the driver's side door bar intact, and you can see how tight that is to the actual door. It's gonna be right up against that bad boy. Yeah, it's tacked in. I gotta actually finish welding all around of it, but the bottom bar is fully welded in. The only hard one I got left is this one right here, but I'm pretty sure I can reach it from the back side fairly easily. So I'm just gonna come work my way around here, come around there, work my way around there. Then I'll do the same thing over there and hit all the bars, and this door bar will be in, and we'll start working on the other side, getting it fully set in place and good to go. All right, big progress has been made. The front intrusion bars on both sides are done. Both main door bars are welded in. As you can see, they fit really tight to the doors. I gotta actually finish removing the speaker housings. The only thing I haven't welded in is this main dash bar, just because I don't know exactly where I want to set it. I might want to adjust it up and down a little bit for my steering column that I'm making a custom mount for. That's besides the point. And we also have to do the rear down bars. So normally, you could just cut this section out to go down to the rear strut towers, whereas you can see over there where it's gonna have a box around it. But I want to be fancy, and I have plans to change the rear firewall anyways, and I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, it's just gonna be easier if I cut this rear speaker shelf out. So I'm actually borrowing Buddy's plasma cutter. You just cut it there, and then around the edge, in the same places over there, the whole shelf comes out. It's not really that structural, and this cage is adding a lot of structure, so I'm not even that worried about it. But it's gonna get it out of my way, make my life a lot easier to work back there, and plus it'll let me redo the firewall to where I can fit my fuel cell better and just make my life a lot easier in that aspect. But I figured I'd just bring the progress. Front half of the cage is done, all that's welded in. Harness bars are welded in on both sides. Had to do that with the door bars. It was so close to the chassis right here, I just tied it into the chassis. Same with down over here. You can barely see it, but right there, we're making good progress. But yeah, I want to cut that out and just get it out of the way altogether. I probably should have done it while this part was out, but it's too late now. Plasma cutter will make it real quick and simple. So I got a little carried away. Yeah, there's a lot more room there. It's actually pretty simple. Main thing I did was to just cut across here and then cut with the angle grinder along the entire back edge. As you can see, it's through the glass. It's not perfect, but I really don't care. The car feels way bigger inside. It feels more like my buddy's BMW than it does most Mustangs. So yeah, kind of glad I cut that out because it's pointless. I was originally going to keep it to like firewall off a fuel cell or something. I was just like, probably be easier for me to start from scratch than to try and patch this and reuse this. So for the time being, that is cut out, and we're going to start working on the rear down bars because The entire front half of the cage is fully in, except for this. I still gotta weld this bar in, but I gotta make an adapter for the steering column. But basically, as you can see, all the door bars and stuff are welded up over there. Literally all that's left are our down bars. In order to do that, I'm actually going to jack the rear end up, put it on jack stands, and drop the strut towers through, just so the strut towers aren't sitting there and getting all hot and smoky and all that fun jazz. So let's go ahead and raise it up, drop those, and start working on getting the strut towers. I gotta finish cleaning them off real quick, as you can tell, and work on getting this thing ready to go. Alright, so y'all are gonna be mad at me, but a lot has been done, and because it was in this tight area of the car, I didn't film a whole lot of it. But both rear strut tower boxes are in, the down bars are in, the X bars are in, it's fully welded up, and just in time too, because if you look at the gas, it is completely empty. It's maybe got like a couple more inches left to line before it runs out of flow, but that is that. The cage is in. It's fully in, fully installed. Well, except for the knee bar. I still got to do the steering wheel mount adapter thing. Super fucking happy. Like, this cage is so tight everywhere. This A-pillar gap is insanely tight. I'll go show you the driver's side where it matters most. I mean, just insanely tight. It is against the A-pillar except for where this slight curve is. But yeah, it's freaking mint. I gotta get the gas off though and take it to get new gas tomorrow morning on Saturday. But yeah, big updates. The cage is done. All that is truly left, like I said, is we gotta figure out what height we want to set this dash bar at, and then I gotta figure out making a mount for the steering column. And you'll see my current thought is that the steering column is held on with 4 bolts. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to take those off. We're going to cut those mounts off of the steering column physically, bolt them back into it, and basically make a basic bracket there. And then from there, what we'll do is we'll measure it out in 3D space on my car out there that's got the steering column in it. And we will sort out, making it so the steering column is actually, you know, doing something. And we'll sort out making a mounting bracket that comes off that bar, and so on and so forth. So, yeah, I'm going to wrap up for the night because I've done a lot tonight, but it is done, which is big steps. And, yeah, I'll bring you back tomorrow when we start making the steering column mount adapter thingy. So, I know in that last clip, I said we were going to work on the steering column mount, but that is taking significantly more effort, as you can see from over my shoulder. So, we're going to go ahead and just end this video here, and getting the interior ready for all the fun stuff before I can paint it will be the next video. But in the meantime, I hope you enjoyed. If you want to tell me how I fucked up, you know, say it below. If you want to follow for more, go ahead and subscribe, and I'll see y'all in the next video.